Outright contempt for the American people. All that and more now on Graph's Grievances. The Supreme Court brazenly refusing to enforce the U.S. Constitution, ruling that former President Donald Trump cannot be removed from the ballot over his actions related to the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol. The unanimous decision from the High Court finding that states cannot bar candidates from federal office under Section 3 of the Constitution's 14th Amendment. The insurrectionist clause explicitly forbids those who have taken an oath to uphold the Constitution but then engage in an insurrection from ever holding public office again. So, if not the states, who can enforce Section 3? And that is where things get interesting. While all 9 justices agreed that individual states may not bar candidates from federal office, only 5 justices hold that the only way to enforce the insurrectionist clause is through a statute enacted by Congress. Meanwhile, the court's 3 liberal members and Trump appointee Justice Amy Coney Barrett refused to answer how Section 3 can be enforced. So really, what are we supposed to do? Guess how our Constitution is enforced? The totally illogical ruling from the court represents a massive victory for Trump, who, until now, was facing challenges in at least 36 states seeking to remove him from the ballot over his efforts to overturn the 2020 election. And while Trump and his backers have long argued that challenges to his candidacy are un-American because they would deprive voters of the opportunity to decide whether Trump gets a second term, what is actually un-American is the Supreme Court attempting to rewrite Section 3 of the 14th Amendment because they don't like what it says. The post-Civil War era amendment contains absolutely nothing about Congress having to take action to keep insurrectionists out of the government. Yet, relishing their seemingly unlimited power, the majority of the court has now just decided by decree that only Congress can enforce Section 3. This outrageous judicial activism used to be the antithesis of conservative lore, but has now been embraced by MAGA Republicans and their allies on the High Court. The right stopping at absolutely nothing to desperately hold on to power as America becomes an ever more pluralistic society and rejects their white Christian nationalism. In 2013, we saw the conservative majority on the Supreme Court effectively strike down the heart of the Voting Rights Act, which outlawed discriminatory voting practices adopted in many southern states after the Civil War. Chief Justice John Roberts writing that the law's protections against racial discrimination were no longer necessary because the turnout gap between white and black voters had largely disappeared. The stunningly hollow argument failing to take into account that the law's enforcement had thwarted various efforts to enact new barriers to ballot access. It is therefore no surprise that a little over a decade later, a brand new study finds that racial turnout gap has grown almost twice as quickly in jurisdictions formally covered by Section 5 of the Voting Rights Act compared with other parts of the country. In short, counties with a history of racial discrimination have gone back to discriminating against non-white voters now that the federal government is not breathing down their neck. Since the court's ruling, at least 25 voter ID laws have been implemented across the country, including 8 additional states since the 2020 presidential election. These new voter suppression laws impacting 29 million adults, including millions in battleground states of Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. The John Roberts Supreme Court has categorically failed the American people with respect to the foundation of our system of government. That we, the people of the United States, get to choose our elected representatives from all those who explicitly meet the requirements stipulated in the Constitution. By refusing to enforce this key principle, the Supreme Court has gravely threatened American democracy and put an aspiring dictator one step closer to the presidency and destroying our democratic republic forever. Thank you for watching Graph's Grievances. Let me know what you think. Please like, subscribe, share. It really helps me grow this channel. I look forward to seeing you in the next one.